Welcome to Emancipated Studio. Welcome my uncle, Uncle Stu, the old man on the block.
So, hold on, y'all. All right, can y'all hear me without all this back feed? I apologize. Hold on, y'all. We're getting this speaker right. Okay. All right. Can y'all hear me real good in the chat? Let me get a one in the chat if y'all can hear me real good. All right. Salute. I want to thank each and every single one of y'all that has been writing so many great things in the comments section. As you know, I do respond to every single comment that is out here. And let me tell you, it is so beautiful to hear all of y'all responding to the comments, being able to write and express yourselves in real time. And as you know, you're getting those answers and those feedbacks in real time. And it is so important that you do give those feedbacks and do write comments. I do read them. I respond to them. And if I don't understand what you're writing, you know that I'm going to quickly say, hey, can you clarify? And many of you have come back and clarified things that you have said. I also, before I start reading, everybody that's in the chat, I want to thank all of y'all for your love, your prayers, and everything. This platform is growing and it's growing authentically. And let me tell you, I'd rather have better growth and grow it authentically than fake growth and not know what in the world I'm doing. I want to thank y'all for y'all support. You have been supporting me financially. You have been supporting me intellectually. And you have actually taken the time to come here. You could have been anywhere on these YouTube streets, but you came to hang out with Uncle Stu, the old man on the block. And you don't know, that is a great thing for me to see, for me to be a part of. And I want to continue to encourage, younger YouTubers that's in the game. You may have 300 subscribers. You may have 100 subscribers. You may only have 50 subscribers. Keep putting in the work. Believe it or not, Uncle Stu and his team is looking at you. So you could also be the next person that can be right up here with Uncle Stu live doing an interview, because it's not about me. It is about you. So now let me look at the chat. I got Big Bad Bull in the house. I got my number one chef in the house. Chef Shapino is in the house. And as you know, I got the one and only that's sitting in the back right now, Tobias, the traveler. And let me tell you, don't let your eyes deceive you. Now over here on the East Coast, it's almost about to be dark. But where he is, the sun is rising bright. You just check it out. Then we got Brown Eyes in the house, and we got the one, the only, the voice by no choice, because she could just speak and draw a crowd. Candid Ann is in the house. And then we got Big Bad Bull is in the house. Let's see who else we got. And of course, my right-hand man, the intentional millionaire, always working, always on these YouTube streets, trying to drop it and make sure people know how to develop and get a what? $1 million portfolio. And we definitely got to shout out my other right-hand man, E Black TV, putting it down, telling y'all how to get knowledge. He's telling you another way of getting into the STEM program. We did a beautiful interview, me, E Black, Candid Ann, Chef Shapino. They all are on these YouTube streets, and I've given each one of them an interview, and they did what? Like the baseball game, they knocked that out the box. So I want y'all to know this is the place where YouTubers get made and started, and they get a chance to know who they are, and you get to know who they are. The better you know your YouTuber, the better you respect the work and the platform that they're putting in each and every single day. So without further ado, when Brown Eyes needed somebody to have a passport intellectual conversation, she called this man. And when the intentional millionaire said he didn't feel like traveling anymore, he called this man. And when this brother found Uncle Stu just wandering the YouTube streets, he said, Uncle Stu, get your passport and come travel with me. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one and only Tobias the Traveler. What's happening, sir?
Oh, life is good, Uncle Stu. Life is good. I have no complaints.
I know that's right. I know that's right. You know.
Thank you for the intro. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. So that everybody know where you are right now. Will you tell everybody why it's getting dark over here in America, while it looks like it's getting bright and sunny where you are?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a real warm day today. I'm currently in Bali, Indonesia.
Wow. Wow. And how long you been there so far?
Say again?
How long have you been there so far?
I got here last week, so I was like, I'll be here for a few more weeks. But this is just, one of my travels. So yeah, I've been here 6 days now, and it's been really, really great. I gotta say, the people have treated me very, very nice. The food is good. The weather is warm. It's safe. So yeah, it's definitely a good look.
Let me ask you something. With a lot of times you read on the news, with all of the situations going on, meaning, this pandemic and all of this other stuff, and they make it appear that travel is not something we should be doing right now. So how is it that you're able to do that where, let's say, the news is saying one thing, but what really is the reality on the ground?
Well, let's see here. It's actually, they really don't have a lot of high cases, right? Or even deaths, for that matter, when it comes to, that situation, right? I'm not trying to have an algorithm and all that stuff, get a hold of that. But,
Right.
yeah. So, but yeah, it is very safe. And I mean, there really isn't any social distancing here. They've never really, they didn't wear too many masks like that. After speaking to, a bunch of locals, they did socially distance. But they did all close down Indonesia to international travel for 2 years. And they just reopened to internationals as of March the 7th, like at least wide. I think it's now 43 different nationalities are allowed to, enter Indonesia. But yeah, they did shut down for a few years, and yeah, but in shutting down, that's also how they kept their numbers low. They just weren't allowing folks in from other countries. Now, in the States, they keep pumping, don't go here or don't go there. The numbers are high. And I think it is up to the individual, right? Be vigilant, right? Be safe. If you don't think that you want to be in another country, hey, you know what? That's your choice. I don't point fingers and I don't call names. I myself, though, I'm a traveler. I got to go places, and not being able to use my passport for 2 years, besides going to Mexico last year, was I felt trapped. So I was like, oh my God, I can't go anywhere. Really?
Right.
You got to be playing. So yes, it was. There was other places I could have gone to, like Brazil and all that, but I was just working on other things at the moment, back home in California.
Let me, I've traveled, but for you, what was it about traveling that, got you out and said, you know what, I want to leave America and I just want to travel. What is your purpose of traveling?
You know what? That is deeply ingrained into who I am. And it actually goes back before I was an adult. It goes back to my childhood. And I'll tell you the story. When I was 6 years old, I remember I got into, a fight and I lost. And my stepdad, he was there. He watched the fight happen and he goes, you know what, this will never happen again. So he put me in karate. And while learning karate, I just took to it naturally. I got really good, really, really fast. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, where does karate come from? It comes from Japan. And immediately it snaps. It was like, or the light clicked. It's like, you know what? I want to go to Japan to train with masters there. This is what I want to do. I want to go visit Japan to see karate in its purest form. And
Mhm.
that's like the genesis of my desire, right, to travel. And shortly after that, I remember watching, like National Geographic as a kid, and I see, this guy on the other side of the world. I'm like, I don't forget him. I'm trying to be there. I want to have my feet in the sand. I want to smell the air, taste the food, jump on my motorbike, and have the wind hitting me in the face while I look out to the left or look to the right, and I see the Indian Ocean on my side. This is just always been there. It's
Right.
always been there. It wasn't something that I just discovered in my 20s or someone told me about, like, hey, you should travel. No, I was telling folks, oh, I'm about to go here, and my family was like, boy, you ain't going nowhere. I'm like, watch me.
Is it expensive? If we try to put a number on it, is traveling outside of America expensive?
It can be, right. It's a yes and a no, right? So where do
Okay.
you want to go? How long do you want to stay? Now, I lived in Europe for a number of years, and say
Okay.
if you want to visit Switzerland, oh, you gonna oh, you coming out the pocket.
Right.
Bring your Amex card. It's very expensive. Same thing in
Right.
Norway is going to be very expensive. Sweden for the US dollar. I used to live in Sweden. You're gonna spend some money there.
Okay.
Most European countries, right, Central and Western European countries, you will spend a little bit of money. Northern Europe, you're going to spend a bunch of money, but if you hit Eastern Europe, it's going to get a lot cheaper for you, like much, much cheaper. Whether you go to Ukraine, Poland, Albania, Bulgaria. I mean, a lot of folks don't want to visit those areas. They're like, oh no, there's nothing really going on there. But I travel for the experience, to see see the sights, meet the people, just hang out, and see what's really going on, not just what some guidebook is saying. And like I say, if you want to do expensive, right, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Like I said, I'm in Southeast Asia right now. I've spent a number of years here, right, in Southeast Asia also. If you want to get a villa that's going to run you $6,000 a night, go for it. You can. If you want to get something right, like for real, or if you want to live here and spend $6,000 on a nice villa and pay it up for a year, so you can have that full place for a year, you can do that also, and it's still going to be very, very nice. So it all depends on your budget. What are you looking for? The For me, the most expensive thing when I travel is typically the flight. Most usually it's the flight, and you can actually get really, really good deals depending on the time of year that you want to travel, and a lot of times where you're going. So I mean, I've flown from San Francisco to Bangkok for like $510, and it's cost me $510 to fly from Sacramento, California to San Diego. So
Right.
yeah, so it's up to you. Like, where do you want to go and when? So I mean, the tickets, and then just you do your research. You can usually find really good deals. So
Culturally speaking, how has that changed your mindset when it comes to traveling overseas, especially in the Asian countries, and then looking at America? You know, did that change your perception of America or other countries? Doing those types of trips.
Mm, what I learned about, like Southeast Asian countries is, respect is a very big thing, but people don't want to lose face. Like say if there is a matter, they don't become emotional at all. So if there's, a bike accident, two folks, and even if one person is dead in the wrong, they don't, get angry about it. It's, oh, hey, you did this wrong. We know it was wrong. Oh, okay. People can own up to it. Like, hey, I'm sorry. That was my, and they settle it, with their words, with, with communication, and it's heartfelt. It's like, all right, this happened. Why did it happen? Okay, yeah, we know. Let's just solve the problem, not, you know, blow it up just because I'm mad. That's not how things go in Asia. It's not they mm-mm. And as a foreigner, if you come here and you want to, you want to try to blow up on people like that, this is not the place to do it. Yeah, that
Mm.
you don't do that here. You just don't. It's they're really easygoing people. Doesn't matter if you're in Indonesia, you're in Thailand, um, Singapore, Japan, China. They're a little bit different, but like like Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam, Laos, yeah, very
Mhm.
very different. And they're very very warm. You really don't have any issues here. And when you spend time here and then you come back to the States, you a lot if you weren't already mellow, you will be a lot more mellow. And then you see how people's energy, they're like a lot of times their emotions can fluctuate based off of like something small. Like, why are you getting mad over that? It's is it really that important? Is it going to change your life by, can you not replace it? Right? Is it, your heirloom or something? A family heirloom? Probably not. So yeah, I did become very, very mellow after spending, quite a bit of time in Thailand. And yeah, it's definitely helped me to grow. Like, you know what? Just because something happens, whatever, that's okay. I can get it again. I didn't lose anything. I'm still here. I have my well-being. Finances is great. Family is amazing. Yeah, let's fix whatever problem it is. Understand the what, the why, and get a solution. Let's go. I'm not worried about the little small stuff.
Do you think that's coming from their culture, or is it coming from their religion, or is it coming from philosophy? And let me break those down real quick. I'm gonna take it back to front. When I say philosophy, it's more coming from their theory of mind, their theory of mind, body, and soul, philosophy. When I say religion, meaning they're serving a particular God, and therefore they're deeper into the knowledge of their God and their religion, where it's cultivated out of a religious belief.
Okay.
Um, you know, and then when I say culture, it's just breaded culture. Like people are just culturally bred, whether it's from a governmental system, historical system, and that's just the way they are. And they're just not touched by what we know today as the westernized mindset, if I can say it that way.
Of the three, I have to say it is the culture, but then it can change a little bit, right? So here in Indonesia, they have it's predominantly Muslim, but then they also have the Hindu culture. But there's certain within the Muslim culture, like excuse me, within the Muslim faith and also like the Hindu faith, they still share certain aspects, right? Not like where who their savior is or anything like that, but like treating somebody as a person, respecting that individual. That is something that is key to everyone that's from Indonesia. And then with like the traditions of the family, you'll see that across the belief systems. So it is the culture, right? Or their cultures first, I think.
Mm.
Then it can change a little bit based on what their belief system is. The philosophy, I it I can't say it's leaning too much on philosophy. Um, because the culture is very very strong here. They will always maintain it. It's not going to change. They all they have their traditions. Like right now, if I go outside, um I will see plenty of like what look like like these like offering bins, right, for like the spirits that have passed, right, and they want for
Mm.
protection, good luck, and all that. You'll see that all throughout, like when just lining the streets of people's homes, right, or their businesses. So yeah, it's definitely. But I have to believe it is the culture first, and they want to maintain their culture. They don't want to. Oh, hey, we have the big box American brand or Western brands, but you will still you see more mom and pop shops than anything here. So they haven't just digested. Besides Circle K, Circle K is massive here. I haven't seen a 7-Eleven, but. And I
But
saw what one.
America, they own 7-Eleven and the Circle K's here.
You know what? Is well, I don't know if Indonesians do, right? A lot of Indians, like folks from India. I haven't seen anybody from India right here.
Okay,
Well, Indonesia, yeah. I'm in Southeast Asian, and it's a chain of islands.
got you.
Excuse me, yes, it's a chain of islands, and yeah, it's a really nice place. Like I said, I'm on an island right now, so it's
Mhm.
a really good look. Just want to.
Take it from what you just said. What is something that maybe you're learning over there that we need to bring back to America? Whether it's we're trying to change all of America or just us as individuals in our own homes to perfect that culture, to transfer that culture where we can start having that peace of mind and being able to transcend that to our families.
The one thing I have seen here and, you know, throughout Southeast Asia and other countries that I've been to that we don't see a lot of times in the States, and if we want to take it to the Black community, is the intact family. I see, you, man, when you see families here, you will see typically, well, I've been noticing there's a small, tiny little pocket of single mothers here. That's just maybe they met a foreigner and he took off or something. But for
Right.
the most part, the family structure is intact. It is a traditional family here. And yeah, I see that. Or, I can see, you'll see, grandma and grandpa living in the same house, right? As, the son and something like that, and his wife. And then maybe they have kids, and that whole lineage is present, or they're not too far away. So yeah, the family system the traditional family is alive and well here. Like it is, you see it immediately.
Mm. Do you think our family system is broken down because we're not doing enough study or we're not putting in enough action into this whole aspect of family? Where do you think our breakdown of that real traditional family is coming from?
Well, you know what? We know a lot of you. We can go back to the '60s, right, and all that. Hey, this happened, that happened, but now we know what happened. We know why everything happened, and we shouldn't be trying to point fingers, call names, or anything like that. Now it's okay. Well, how can we do that? How can we bring things back together again? What's the strategy? Well, first, what are we trying to achieve? What is the ultimate goal? And then we can't start big because that's not going to happen. It has to start small, right? Grassroots, and then it grows from that. But it starts with them, just like, even if it was a specific neighborhood, a specific community of people who like, hey, we're all gonna let's all move to this specific area. We have our families and stay together, like we have with us. Just having the intact family unit, that's I think something will help us, but people have to want it, right? Folks have to want it, and then it's okay. Well, if you want it, how do we get there? What obstacles are in the way of this? And do others actually want it? Because people can talk about it a lot. Folks will talk and talk and talk, but do they want it at the end of the day? And if they don't want it, well, then it's just it's hot air, right? It's not going to work.
I'm gonna throw a curveball, but let's just go there for right now. How do you get people hungry for it? And when I say that, I have run into situations where, say, I see the light, if I use that term, the light. Um,
Okay.
I see, the success. I can see things in people to say, hey, if we do this, or if you as an individual do this, you're going to get over this big bridge. But then it's like, how do you put fire inside of the bones that won't that won't take off? What is there a piece I'm missing? What's going on?
That is not something either of us can do. That starts with that individual, right? You know, the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Right.
Many people don't actually want it. When someone wants something, they will do their best to get it, to obtain it, whether, you know, it's a job or a new pair of Jordans that they can't afford. They will put the work in to obtain whatever it is that they want. And like I said, if they want it, cool. If they don't, they just want to talk about it. That's fine, also. But now, why? Why are you wasting time? It sounds good. I don't have time for that. I got other things going on in life.
Do you think that we need to push the philosophy of really understanding your reason why? Or do you think that in the American system, we have so much marketing going on, which is giving the illusion of success, but not the reality of success?
That's a heavy one. The illusion of success, right? You know, I'm trying to flex. Right? I'm flexing.
Right.
That is massive, but that's I believe that stems, or I think that stems from emotion. It's like, okay, I want to feel like I'm doing better. I want other people to perceive me as I am doing better than I was. And if you want to show it, go ahead, show it off. But show it off, you know, if you're gonna show it, go hard. But make sure you got, you know, some money in your bank, not just, oh, you know, I got some jewelry on, or I'm driving a nice car, but you know, you live in a one bedroom shack. Nah, that's not how I roll.
You know, I say that because Intentional Millionaire and I, we have been doing a lot in the sense of in the backstage. And one of the statistics that he's definitely throwing out, which has been universal statistically, almost, I think I want to quote it right. And if he's in the chat, hopefully he give me the right numbers. Majority of people don't even have $500 in their savings account for emergency. And we're not talking 50%, we're talking over 50% of people don't even have it. Yet online, everybody got six figures. So it's like,
That is
isn't right. The numbers don't add up.
I agree with that, right? I've seen a lot of folks talking about six figures. You know, other brother KS has, you know, has mentioned it, and had just, you know, now it has exploded.
Right.
And when I see it, and I'm looking at folks who are talking like they got it like that, I'm like, let's talk. Well, if you don't own a business, or you don't have those high income skills, then you probably, unless you're doing, you know, earning money inconspicuously in a different manner we don't have to go into. Well, I'm not worried about it. But
Right.
yeah, if your six figures isn't taxable, you really aren't doing much.
Okay. 90,
You're right.
59% don't have 500 for an emergency. He just let me know.
Okay. Candid Anders had a question, but yeah, most folks, 59% don't have $500. Now, there was a time in my life, right, when I didn't have $500 in my bank account either. I remember it vividly.
Right.
But yeah, that, you know, was, well, I can't. Oh man, I've been at the six figure mark since 2015. Right.
Okay.
Even before when I was living in Europe, I hadn't hit six yet. Then I came back to the States and, you know, hit that, you know, that six figures. It was actually my first job when I moved back to the States, was, you know, solid 100 grand. I was like, oh my God.
Right.
It was lights, yeah.
What?
And if
Right.
now, but if someone doesn't have $500 in their account, and they're, you know, they're trying to flex like that, that says their priorities are incorrect. Immediately, your priorities are incorrect, because if you can, if you're having a hard time well, first off, you won't like be able to travel. If you $500, you don't have $500 in your pocket, you're not going to be able to do anything close
Right.
to what others like myself are doing like that. Right? Unless it's maybe within the States, you can probably do some serious budget travel. But yeah, if you don't have $500 in your account, one may really want to work on getting that up, and not even, I'd say 6 months worth of rent. Throw 3 to 6 months put away, at least to have some cushion.
Oh, you're about to make me bring up Intentional Millionaire. He's going to tell you about emergency funds.
Oh, I did, man.
Yeah, he
I know
gonna
what it is.
tell you where to put that money at. Yes, sir.
Then can I touch on Canada Ann's question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, I do fly business class sometimes. Like this time, I was gonna fly business class, but then I flew on Singapore Airlines out of San Francisco, and they're like, oh, I typically, if I'm gonna fly business class, I will just book a coach ticket, and then when I get to the airport, I'll ask folks at the counter, hey, what's it gonna look like, or how much it's gonna run me to to upgrade to business class, and they were like, oh yeah, it's gonna cost you about 1,700-1,800. I'm like, nah, I don't like really 17 or 1,800 for to upgrade. And although it is a long haul flight, they're like, well, you can spend that, but then there's actually no. Then actually, I even asked for premium economy, and they're like, well, premium economy is already sold out, but there's nobody sitting next to you in the back of the plane, so you'll have a lot of room. I was like, oh, okay. And it was my first time actually flying on Singapore Airlines. Very, very nice airline, super spacious. I was like, oh, okay, great. But typically, a lot of times, depending on where I'm going, yeah, I will fly business class. And Canada Ann, I'm 6 feet.
See. Now I gotta tease somebody in my chat. There's another woman that she's one of these international travelers. We have to treat her with tender gloves because she was able to get us our iPhones. She gets the shits rolling, So let me just shout out Kareem. Kareem is in the building. Kareem is super international. She got them international connections. My next question would be, being that you travel overseas, do you think that one of the first things people should learn to do is maybe travel nationally, and really get a grasp of America?
You know what? You can.
Okay.
But when you leave America, remember, the culture is going to be completely different unless you're going to the UK or Australia, Canada, another English-speaking country. Well, Singapore is the only other country in the world where English, outside of someone who's who Britain came through and really, Singapore is the only country that's Asian speaking, or any other nation where English is the national. Well, it's not. Is one of the national languages. It's actually its primary language, but culturally it is different. You don't have to travel within the United States first to learn or get a grasp on what travel is like. You know what? Maybe if you just want to learn how airports work and all that, but culturally, now you got to get out there. You got to go ahead, board that plane, get your passport, or I call it the key to the world. Board a plane and go someplace. And I don't even say the Caribbean. I'm talking about going, either get across the Pacific, get across the Atlantic, head to South America if you want to, but you want to go someplace, I think, where the culture is different. You'll learn a lot if you have an open mind. You know what? I actually had to check a dude one time. I was in Thailand.
I want to keep talking.
Okay. I was in Thailand. This was back in 2007. And it was, a night out with some friends. And, it was probably about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And folks are, barbecuing meat or grilling meat, but they have a sign up that says barbecue. And I meet this guy, and he's like, man, he's looking like barbecue. This ain't no barbecue. I'm from Texas. We got real barbecue. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, people have been grilling meat since before Texas existed. What are you talking about? If you want Texas style barbecue, you can go back to Texas. He got angry with me. It's not like I cared, But I'm like, man, folks grill meat all over the place and quiet as kept. If you want some real grill, some amazing grilled meat, go to Turkey. Oh, the Turks do some amazing things with
Yes.
meat. Turkey, yeah, they do some. Mhm. I take my hat off to the Turkish folks. They got it.
Well,
Not taking that away from anybody else.
in Asia, they because I've been to the Philippines, and Japan, and it's like what y'all call Japanese food over here is not Japanese food over there. Two totally different things. One thing that I like that you continue to say is get embedded in the culture versus tourism. Can you explain the difference between tourism and being embedded in the culture?
Oh yeah, that's actually pretty easy. When you embed yourself in a culture, it actually you have to be here usually for a bit longer,
Mhm.
unless you're a seasoned traveler. But it's still usually going to take a little bit of time because you won't really see the culture until you're here or in a location for a while. So I lived in Sweden, right, for a bit, and
Okay.
when I talk to people about living in Sweden and they had visited Sweden, they're like, "Oh man, Sweden was great," and blah blah blah. But they talk about it how people talk about Las Vegas. They went for the weekend and they loved Vegas and it was peachy keen. And but the folks who actually live in Vegas, they don't go to the Las Vegas Strip like that, right? They're like, oh no, we don't go there. We have other things that we do. And you won't know this until you get your boots on the ground and you start spending time there. You start meeting the locals and they start showing you, hey, come check this out. This is, kind of how we do things. And other stuff, that's for the people who are just going to be here, for a couple of days. And, yeah, the tourist things are like that the Instagram worthy shots, right? Which yeah, folks do it. Excuse me. Great. Again, like I don't have a problem with it. Folks want to go create their memories. Cool, do that because those memories will always be priceless. Always, always. And but the when you embed yourself in the culture, the experience you have will be eh, they'll be very very heartfelt, they'll be priceless to you, and they will stand out more than just the snap of a photo, right? Or man, like I remember that. But when you're in the culture, you're there, you remember everything that led up a lot of times to that moment that's so special to you, and that all the individuals that you connect with in that locale or in that location, you will a lot of times form lifelong bonds with. They're gonna, and now since technology allows us to stay connected, you yeah, they'll reach out. So the tourist is the individual who's like, a lot of times they're very temporarily, and the individual that is going to embed themselves in a culture, they usually have a bit more time on their hands, whether it's 3 months to 5 years, whatever they do. And you know what? The person who learns the culture typically learns the language,
Mm.
even if it's at a very even if it's at a basic level. They learn the language because language, right? Culture is transmitted through language and through food. So if you aren't learning the language, you will not really be able to pick up the culture, at least like like the deeper meaning of it. Like I was talking to an Indonesian couple last night, actually. We were having dinner and they took me to the spot, and they're like, well, in Indonesia, like the concept of time is a little different. So they have a word in Indonesian for yesterday, but it actually means yesterday and everything beyond yesterday. So you have to be specific, right? Or specific with your time frames with them. And same thing with the word tomorrow. It just doesn't mean the day after tomorrow, that 24 hours. No, it is that next day and everything beyond it. So again, you have to give them specific time. And I'm like, wow, for real? Yeah, that's yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, that's very very interesting. Here, where I come from, it's not like that at all. Yesterday was that 24 hours,
Right.
and it's Wednesday. Okay, it's Wednesday morning here. So all of Tuesday was yesterday. Then everything before that, okay, was you got the day before yesterday and so forth. And then tomorrow, the day after, we have it's very specific, not them. You have to specify within like their language, not in English. If when you're communicating within their language, what you actually mean. I'm like, oh, that was something that's very, very interesting to me. I'm like, oh, that's actually
Oh.
really cool.
So
And
you get to hear the call of the Adhan 5 times a day. I used to be a Muslim.
you know what? Well, in Bali, Bali's primarily Hindu, but if I go to Jakarta, yeah, if I go to Jakarta, oh yeah, the call is that's what it is, 5 times a day.
Yeah, yeah. Before you became the traveler, who was you prior to all this traveling that you're now doing? And I'm gonna throw it out here. Make sure y'all put Tobias the Traveler's YouTube page in the chat. Let me see. I think I got it in the private chat. Let me see if I can pull it out the private chat.
There's another one in the chat, right? But for some reason, that link, I don't know if it works sometimes or not. But this one I know works every time. That's why I went ahead and sent it to you in the back chat, in the back channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it right here. All right, I got it posted in the link. If y'all want to subscribe to his YouTube channel. Yeah, but how did you get to where you got to? Now I know, the martial arts, but prior to that, who was Tobias the Traveler prior to him being able to float around, go to other countries, hang out for 5, 6, 7 months and all this other good stuff? How was you able to finance all of that?
Okay, so I can take it back, like 10, 11, 12 years. So back in the day, right, I used to own a kickboxing gym, right? I used to teach Muay Thai kickboxing. I trained a lot in Thailand. And then coming back to the United States, I had a kickboxing gym, with a buddy of mine, did that for a bit. But it got boring. It got old. And when you have a brick and mortar presence, you really don't have the time or the ability to travel like that because you're always at that location where you have to be able to service or meet the needs of your customer base. Mm-hmm. And got rid of that, right? I sold my half of it. And I was just looking for a job, and I found a company in San Francisco, a mobile games company, or a video game company called Kabam. Was at Kabam. Honestly, I didn't know where I wanted to go just yet. I got a job just in customer supports, right? It's answering emails, helping folks who are playing our games. Okay, did that for a year and ended up getting laid off. Applied for another video game company, which I thought was in the Bay Area. And I sent them my resume. They're like, hey, Tobias. They responded pretty fast. We like your CV. Let's kick things off with a Skype call. This is in 2012. No one's doing interviews over Skype. There wasn't, a whole bunch of remote work like that. Right. I'm like, okay, we can do that. Now, when I first applied, I didn't do any research on the company. I didn't even look at their website. I found the job on Indeed. And when they hit me up, that's when I'm like, all right, let me look at their website. The name of the company is called Wooga, and they're located in Berlin. And I'm like, oh, really? And I'm looking at the company's website, and I look, and it's like, hey, all of our Woogas, everybody who works here, right? They come from 40 plus nations. If you get a job here, we'll pay for your relocation and all that good stuff. And I thought to myself, this is even before the interview, if I get this job, I'm moving. I was going through a divorce, and I got the job. I remember they flew me there for the face-to-face interview. Right, well, I had my first interview on Skype. I remember speaking to a guy, Jan Mitseka. He told me immediately, he was like, hey, I don't usually do this, but, I'm going to put my seal. He was a hiring manager. I'm going to put my seal of approval, on your resume, your CV, and I will be in touch in a couple of days. I get an email from, his PA or his personal assistant. And she's like, hey, Jan really liked you. And wants to interview you again. Do you want to come to Berlin, to have your face-to-face interview, or do you want to have, a Skype interview again? Whichever is fine with us. I'm like, you know what? I want to come to Berlin. They're like, well, why? I'm like, well, if I'm going to work for your company and live there, I want to be able to meet the team face to face. I want to see if I even like Berlin, even though I'd only have like 3 days there. I want
Right.
to make sure, it's cool. And even if I didn't get the job, it was just a free 3-day trip to a foreign country
Right.
that I hadn't been to. Excuse me. So
2 for 1.
Yeah, pretty much. I flew to Berlin, interviewed, had a great time like there over the weekend. I flew back on a Sunday. When I got home that Sunday night, I woke up Monday. I had the offer in my email. 5 weeks later, I moved to Germany.
Wow. What part of Germany?
Berlin.
Berlin. Okay. Yeah, I did a TDY in Hamburg, so it was fun walking into McDonald's and getting a beer.
Man, people don't know that beer is a part of German culture. So you see 14-year-olds run around with crates of beer and going to hang out with their friends at the park on a Friday night. So it's
one of the things that I do know you talk about, and I've heard you talk about it on your platform, and I've always felt it never got fully developed the way I know you can articulate it. You talk about the alpha male and the beauty of the way you structure that alpha male has nothing to do with money.
Correct.
You have a moment to teach or explain your philosophy and your understanding of what really is an alpha male. What does that look like?
Yeah, that's I did that video. Actually, I hit it right because I'm pivoting my channel right now. I'm going to be focusing completely. Yeah, after after speaking to TLA, right? And you was in that call. Was it yesterday, day before? Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, the alpha male. And most people, when they think of alpha males, just because of the media, they think of the guy who is just out there, getting women. Honest, that's all they think about. And I'm like, no, that individual is so much more than that. So much more. Whether it was your grandfather, your uncle, your father, you're so much more than that. And it begins a lot of first of all, with the knowledge of self, that love of self, to even attain confidence, to become greater. Because I've seen, like back in the day, like folks were in the red pill community, and then an extension of that was like the pickup artist community. Folks always talked about confidence and all that good stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, after a lot of trial and error, I discovered just on my own that the basis for confidence, that foundation, is the love of self. Because there are many people who appear to be confident, but they have massive chinks in their armor. Or if they're talking to a woman and she tests them, they kind of lose it. And like, oh, she said this, and you can see them, and their whole their energy changes. Versus, oh, you said something to me, it doesn't bother me. Who cares? I'm always love me. You see this shirt, girl, looks so good on me, or whatever. The love of self is the basis for that confidence, right? What else? A alpha male is a problem solver. First of you know how to solve problems. People probably have come to you many times, like, hey, Tobias or Uncle Stu or Intentional Millionaire, I'm having this matter and I just can't figure it out. Can I have a bit of your time, or can you provide me with some guidance on how I can actually solve this in a way that is, best for me, best for my situation currently, based on, the information that I have.
Mhm.
So I can go a lot deeper into it. The alpha male is, I would really like to see people change their mindset on the alpha male, but with the media pushing this, he's this man who's always in a suit, right? Or hold on, actually there's two alpha males. There's one, there's the I hate the word the thug alpha. He's like he's alpha because he ain't taking no mess from nobody, right? But then you also have the other alpha who is a loving man who's an amazing father who is not out there running the streets like that. And depending on where you sit on that pendulum, you may think one is and the other isn't, or they both are. And the one that gets the most airtime is the guy who is the ladies man. But before he can do all that, he has to have his life in order, or he should.
Right. I like that, and that's right on time, right on target. Would you like to take any questions from the chat?
Absolutely.
All right. If there's anybody that wants to come up and speak, I will definitely drop the link. Now y'all know I got this lovely message right here.
Welcome to the Emancipated Studio, where you are welcome to engage with guests and the panel. Please stay on topic and be respectful to our guests and panel. Be sure to have your camera on while in the back of the studio so that you may be verified by Uncle Stu, and then you may turn your camera off while participating on the panel. You have given up all rights to any footage and clips which can be used by Uncle Stu and his staff. Now please hit the link again and welcome to Uncle Stu's Emancipated Studio.
TLA got Jessica X, I got Candid Ann. So yes, Luke.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Candid Ann.
Hey, can you give me one moment? It's a lot of light in here right now, so I just want to close these the blinds and all that real quick. Give me one moment.
Absolutely. And like I said, anybody want to hit that link, come up, and talk to Tobias the Traveler about any questions, anything that, may be on your mind, or just say hello to him. He's all the way on 12 hours ahead of us. So it's Wednesday there and it's Tuesday night over here.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
Had to turn down that light.
Oh, I hear you. Hey, if you don't want to come up, put a Q in the chat.
Where is my... Yeah, it's getting warm.
Yeah, because it's about 10, going to 10 o'clock in the morning.
Actually, it's 8 a.m. and it's supposed to be about 81 degrees here, but it's here there's heat and humidity, which I like. So it'll be 81, but it's gonna feel like 97 outside. And yeah, it's gonna be warm. It's always warm here. It's endless summer. So that's what I prefer. Yeah, I'm allergic to the cold now. I don't deal with cold.
I hear you. The man of the hour, he done put on his $500 Brooks Brothers shirt. See, he's the next intellectual Kevin Samuels. Welcome to the stage. Before the Brilliance.
I knew it was. I'm like, he coming.
What is up?
What's going on? How you doing?
Doing good, doing well. I just got off my live stream. I was like, oh, let me go ahead and tune on over here to see you guys. Tobias, is great to see you doing well, especially over there in Bali. Yeah, man. So I wanted to ask you this right quick. Is that how long are you planning on staying in Bali as well? Like, a quick question.
Okay, so I'll be here for a few weeks, but then I'll leave because my son is still in California. He says he has to finish up the rest of the school year, and then I'm gonna come back in late June. But even before that, I'm gonna take my son to Europe. So we'll probably hit up Spain, Portugal, Italy. And once that is done, I'll fly back here sometime in late June. And I'll probably stay for the entire summer just to see if I really, really like it, if I'd like to move here or not.
Okay. And another question I have for you is that travel. So if you were to list your top three things, right, that you need to do in life, would you have travel at the top of your list? Traveling, to these other countries, these other, these other states in the world.
No, at the top of my list would be discovering who you are as an individual, and like but generating or finding that love of self, right? If you haven't done that, no amount of travel is going to, to cure you of like that emptiness, that's, that void in your heart. So the first thing is discover who you are as a person, and like truly discover it. What makes you happy? What can you do that will always put a smile on your face, even if it's not making you a whole bunch of money? Discover that first, then travel. Right then, yeah, for me, immediately, jump on a plane, go someplace, see something new, meet some great people, have some great food, get lost in a foreign city, and find some great food while you're lost. So, yeah.
Okay. How many places have you traveled to since since you've been on your traveling journey?
43 countries.
43 countries. That's a lot. I know I think it's over 100 and something countries in the world
180.
right now. 180. See, yeah,
180.
Uncle, I don't know if you want to go ahead and take the question.
Do you see the question? Tobias says, where would
Yes,
you like to retire if and when it's time to finally settle down?
You know what? I haven't found that place yet. That's why I also came to Bali, just to see if I really like it like that. And Bali had been calling my name for the last 2 years, but right before it started kind of hitting me in like June of 2019. Then later, that thing hit the world, and that shut down travel to a whole bunch of places. So I've been wanting to come here for a while, and now I'm here. So okay, yeah, I'm just feeling it out. As for a specific location, for me, Thailand is still like at the very top of the list. I've always felt at home in Thailand.
Have you been to any African countries at all?
I have not. Yeah, that I will change, but yeah, I have not touched the motherland just yet.
Okay. My question, and then I'm gonna see what else before the millions got. That's my little co-host at times.
Yeah.
But my question would be, because I heard you say it, that love of self. How does someone attain that love of self? Is there books that a person can read? Is there a deep level of teaching that needs to happen? That love of self.
Yeah. I think everyone's journey may be a little different. My journey, right? I put it out there. I tell folks, when I was a young man, right, I used to, my family, my mother's family. So I come from a single mom. I don't tell anybody anything different. I do.
Right.
I had my stepdad in my life till I was 12, and he took off. My actual biological father was never really present. And growing up, right, the first 9 grandchildren were girls. And so it's nothing but a whole bunch of, female energy coming at me. And, as a young man, you don't know any better, but they used to, tease me a lot. Oh, Tobias, no, Tobias ain't black. Tobias stiff. He can't dance and all this, nonsense.
Right.
And it created a stigma in me where I did not like being a black man. So, and I didn't have anyone around to positively reinforce that black is beautiful. This is something I don't think that is all like, now we see black girl magic and all this other stuff, but this is prior to that. And I still don't think young black men get told, hey, you are special, young man. I remember a number of years ago, Tommy Sotomayor did a video called Black Boys Rock. This man hit it so hard on the nail. Oh my God. I wish if he got that video still, I would ask him to drop that video again because black men need to hear it. And
Mm.
it spoke to me like heavily. It really, really did. Now, at the time, I already knew who I was, but it just reinforced. It gave me that much more, vigor, that much more energy to keep
Right.
pushing on.
Right.
So I really, I really, really liked that video that he put out. And this was in like 2012 or 2013 when he dropped that video, Black
Right.
Boys Rock. So yeah, but getting back even further, like I said, I didn't have someone to say, "Oh, hey, young black man, Tobias, you are special. You are somebody, and you will always do. You have the ability to do great things. And if people don't like you for who you are, your dark skin, forget about them. But use the other word, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I remember. I'll tell the story. Being that my family was so separated, like it was just not. It was a highly dysfunctional family hit by the crack era. Right, I'm 41. Like I mean, almost all my aunts and uncles, were addicts. I know what that is. Like I saw it as a
Right.
kid. So
Right.
uh, getting beyond that and having like a lot of like the women in my family, talking mess about me, that caused a massive stigma. And I again, I didn't like being black. I actually used to lie to people about it, right? And I remember I was telling folks, hey, I'm half Puerto Rican, and folks were like, what? Because I speak very good Spanish.
Right. I've
And
heard it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was believable. But it got back to my family and all that I was lying. And I remember I was with my brother Joaquin one day. He was like, "Bias, you ain't got a lot of these people." And again, it was his stepdad. I remember years ago. He like, "Do you remember what my dad said?" He said, "If people don't accept you for who you are, f them." And at that point, I remember we were in my car. This is like 2002. I had to like I remember I dropped him off at home or something like that. I broke down and cried. I'm like, God, man, I was hurt because I wasn't content in myself just yet. I
Mm.
just was. I wasn't. I had to break down. I cried. I was hurt. I'm like, man, I lied to so many people, and I had to begin the journey to discover the knowledge of me, who I am, who I will be, and what I will achieve. And yeah, it was 20 plus years ago. I look back at it, and I'm actually glad it happened because now nothing can stop me, nothing can phase me. I believe I can achieve anything that I want to do. If I want to, build a plane and fly to the moon, uh, Elon Musk could be asking me how I did it. If I wanted to do it, I can do it. I just have that belief now. And at first, I had to discover the love of self, accept this beautiful black skin that God gave me. I
Mm.
love it. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't be anything else in the world besides a black man. Even though people say, oh, it's tough out there for a black man. Please, you know how much opportunity we have, especially in America. I'll speak to it. We do. We have a ton of opportunity. Intentional millionaire. I know he will go. Oh yeah, there's green to be made. So discovering the love of self, and it took the journey, and it took a couple of years for me to like purge myself of all the Latin stuff that I used to have that I had ties to, and I did, I still speak Spanish again, like very, very well, but I have this energy, this love, this knowledge. And one thing I do is tell my son, I reinforce in him, you are a beautiful black man. He's half Asian, but
Right.
and no matter what, in the eyes of the world, you're a black man first. You got that
Right.
dark skin like me, you got super curly hair, you are a black man. They do not see your mother's culture.
Mm.
You are black first, and you always will be. Black men, black women will always see you as them. guaranteed. So you are a beautiful young man. You can achieve anything you want, and if you need some help, you're gonna need some help. I'm here to help you along the way. The information that, or the love and that guidance that I didn't have growing up, I make sure I give it to him, so he doesn't have the, the, or experience the trials and tribulations, right, that I went through. He also still has his mother's culture, right, which he's very connected to, but
Mhm.
he also has our culture. And yeah, he is a product of the two. So yeah, I really make sure that that love of self is present, right, for him. Like, hey, so what, you messed up. It's not because you black. It's just maybe you didn't study hard enough or something. But yeah, it was a tough journey, right, to get to where I am. But again, now, oh man, oh, the love of self. Again, and this is where people ask, like, why are you so confident? Because it's where I come from, it's what I've experienced, and the failures, or the learnings that I've had that could have contributed to this amazing growth in the current individual that you see me in front of you, is because of those that I've it's because of those is it's because of those experiences that have brought me to where I'm at currently, and that's mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, all that is present. And if more folks could get there, wow, especially as black men, whoo, yeah, we'd be an unstoppable force. Folks would want to see that.
You said something very powerful, and I just want to make sure that I stated it correctly. You made the statement, the other. Do you see that in the now situation? Thank you before the billions. Do you see in a now situation we are the other even to black women, or are we just the other and we need to be able to speak to the other?
I'm not sure if I'm understanding you correctly. Can you rephrase, please?
Sure. In the conversation, I didn't want to stop you. You said you used the word the them, and what I was trying to figure out is when you say them, meaning black men, are you saying them separated from black women because they're an isolated group, or you're just saying black men just as individuals, we need to take on the ownership of loving ourselves as who we are, black men?
Okay. Yeah, no, loving ourselves as black men first. If you cannot love yourself, you don't have the ability to I don't think you have the ability to love another person, love that woman the way she requires it, because you're still going to have these massive battles that are being fought in yourself. What's in you is going to come out of you onto her. She's going to feel it. That's not the way to go.
Got
So
you.
yeah, definitely, it's within ourselves first.
Got you. Let me grab a couple of these, then I'm gonna get my brother Millennial Mark to step in and ask any question or make any statement. Okay, Von Bryant asks, what is one of your favorite places to go when you travel?
One of my favorite places. You know what? I've always liked Croatia. Right? I gotta say, I've always, in the summertime, Croatia is amazing. The coastline is beautiful. It's inexpensive. You get treated very, very well there because they don't see many black folks coming through there. And if you're black, you're American, you obviously are well to do. It's like, again, it's not very expensive, but they don't see many of us. And it's with genuine intrigue and love, like when they reach out, oh hey, let's go hang out, let's go have dinner together, or I can invite you over to come meet my family, or I'll take you here or take you there. You get treated well, and well, that's not a lot of times when you go to the larger cities like Dubrovnik or Split. If you go like closer to the border of Italy and Slovenia, there's a couple places. There's Pula, there's Rijeka, Opatia. These are smaller seaside towns. man, I have so many great experiences there. So Croatia definitely is a great, you know, place to visit.
Awesome. And then see, I got Mr. Awesome. And thank you, Kareem, for the $5 super chat. He says, if you haven't already covered it, what are your top travel safety guidelines?
Oh, top travel safety guidelines. Mm, okay. Staying safe. Well, one thing I tell anybody, right, is make sure you have enough money when you travel because money can get you out of a jam. Money is a problem solver. And we typically, when I travel, you know, I'll first, before I even leave the country, I'll, you know, go to my bank, pull out some cash. If it is, you know, an area where cash is king, because most of Southeast Asia, cash is going to be how people, conduct their transactions, unless you're in like, you know, a larger restaurant, you know, you can use your cards. Then I also carry I have two credit cards that I use, and then, you know, my debit card. And so, you know, always having access to the money is a way to get you out of any type of jam. I actually once was a 20 was it 2018? Yeah. 2018, I was moving back to the United States from Australia. I was living in Australia for a minute, and I stopped in Thailand, and I'm riding my motorbike, and I get into a bike accident. Right. I mean, it was a very, very bad accident for the other motorists. Like they actually T-boned me.
Wow.
But, you know, they T-boned me. I was a guy, and like, you know, his wife or girlfriend, their bike fell, and I watched him like just turn over onto the bike, boom, and slide. And the bike was on top of the guy. I knew he had RBI or a really bad injury. And
Right.
yeah. When they pulled the bike off him, because he had slid about 20 feet, 30 feet, he had a massive chunk out of, you know, of flesh missing from his leg. And I'm like, oh man. So police show up and all that stuff. And I actually ended up having to pay the family like $800 just because like after like reviewing the CCTV footage, they, you know, they I already knew they was gonna blame me for it, even though he T-boned me, he hit me. I'm like, well, whatever, don't even worry about it. So yeah, if I didn't have, you know, access to funds, it could have been a very different situation, right? So again, yeah, having the access, to money is one way to stay safe. But then, um, not going into, you know, like if people say, you know, the locals say, hey, don't go over there. You don't have to go up over there, right? Honestly, you don't have to. That's not for you. That's not for you. That's where, you know, like I like say if I'm gonna go to Brazil, I am not about to venture off into the favelas like that just for a tour. I don't need to see the hood, right? I come from, why do I want to be over there? That's just not who I am. So that also staying safe. A lot of guys, you know, when they travel, they're out there, you know, meeting women and doing all that stuff. If you get an invite from a woman to come back to her house, that's a no-no.
Right.
Don't that just screams setup. Now, like I don't do all that, but I know some folks. I've heard the stories, and it's not a that's not a good look. Oh, for the women, traveling is actually very, very safe, especially in most parts of the world. It's usually very safe. It's American women that get told, "Oh, don't travel. It's dangerous." BS. You know how many women I meet that are single travelers from Australia or from other European countries or from South America or from, you know, different African nations. They are traveling alone. Typically it'll be like you travel, you might be alone on the flight, but when you get to your destination, you meet others, right? Like
Right.
you, a solo traveler. And you know, a lot of times they'll probably travel together or something. But yeah, traveling is relatively safe. Now, if you travel into the Middle East or something like that, you know, that's a different story as, you know, as a single woman, just because of culture.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you know, if you go into some place that's known to be unsafe or that could be unsafe, you know, then that's the chance that you take. But yeah, safety for the most part for me I've never really had a run in. Actually, I was in Sweden one time, right? I was living in Sweden, and I was with a former friend, and I got a couple, man. Sweden, people talk about Sweden, and I actually had a couple fights in Sweden because, man, dude, like the Arab men, right, and Middle Eastern men in Sweden, they'll test you. They will test you as a black man because black men that live in Sweden are not standing up for themselves. So yeah, I had a couple run-ins where I had to put people on their behinds because they want to run their mouth. And so yeah, I'll stop.
Yeah, because they don't try that with us military men when we it don't work out good, bro. Millennial Mark TV. They're gonna hear us now. They hear us later. They're gonna hear from us.
They're gonna hear you.
And let me give a big shout out to a very special. Boy, I'm gonna tell you. You want to talk about the hardest working woman on these YouTube streets? To my girl, Sister Georgia. She is one of the hardest. Boy, if you see her one stream, then you got to go to about 4 other places because she got so many channels. It's ridiculous. I'm like, girl, you work hard out here. She working hard. But I want to thank her for coming by. Salute. Go ahead and take it over, Millennial Mark.
Man, I joined in late. I called Brother Tobias and his story, man. That made me join in. It was good. It was really good.
So where you hanging out, man? Where you at? You in Ghana, South Africa? You're not messing with you. I said you in Ghana, did you travel to South Africa and that's where you had to do some floors in South Africa, show them how it was done?
No, man, not yet. I'm still here in Texas, man. Just doing it, doing what I do. But like I said, I came in late, so I just wanted to join in. I saw the StreamYard link drop, and then I was listening to, like I said, Brother Tobias' story, and I mean, he said something that was it was really good when he was speaking on when he was saying, as a younger black man growing up, how being a black man, there's no glamour behind it, so to speak. And so, he's so right about that, with my son. I try to, constantly let him know, you're a black man, you're going to be a black man. And, it's awesome to be a black man because there's a lot invested in letting young black girls know that it's awesome to be a young black girl. But you don't see any, examples of, things being put out there, letting our young black men know that, hey, it's awesome to be a young black man. You're going to transform into something that's amazing. And so listening to his story, man, it really touched me. Like I said, 'cause I got a black son, and he's going to be a big black man. So, we need to figure out a way to make sure that, the young men in our community, what I was picking up from what he was saying, but I just kind of wanted to tie it into something that I was thinking, was just that we have to let our young black men know that it is awesome to be a black man. Our sisters most definitely know that it's going to be awesome to grow up and have all of this black girl magic and all of that. But, what do we have for the young men? I was really into that when he was speaking on that because, it just made me think and, just think back and, even look at, the stuff that's being promoted now. And then, I'm in the millennial generation. So, we had a lot of that stuff, promoted to us too. And I was thinking back and I'm like, I didn't see many examples of it being put out there that it's awesome to be, a black man. You got your superheroes, you got your action figures. Most of them don't look like us, but, and then of course you got your products for girls, but then they also carved out an area where there was products and, money put behind letting, young black girls know that it's awesome to be them. But where's the stuff for the black man? And so, when he was telling his story, it just made me think about that. It was amazing.
Well, and I want you to add to that because even in my era, there's never been a mass media market, whether it's just free or for the financial aspect of it. There has never been a mass media market for African American love.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to my generation. Never has been. It definitely allows me to know what kind of content I need to put out in order to really get that. But there's never been that image. And then I'm going to say, even the images that are being put out here, even on the YouTube space, is still mingled. You understand? It's one thing to say, go get mental help. It's another thing to say, go put on a suit. But I'm still a trashy man on the inside. The mental health in the suit ain't going to work. I'm just going to put it out there. And even for me, I understand having to have that love of self. You know, money couldn't buy the love that I have now.
True.
I've traveled the world. When he talked about Australia, I mean, I hung out in Darwin, Australia. Never been to Sydney, but I was in Darwin. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, with all of the accomplishments that I've achieved, did it really give me love of self? If I use the Bible, Paul says, all of this stuff that I was able to achieve and accomplish, I consider it done if I don't have Christ. You know, all of the things that I've done, it means nothing if I don't love me. So I think that was a very powerful statement. Before you respond, let me get to Kareem. Kareem says, how does this traveling affect having long-term relationships for you?
That right there is a tough one. Now, for me, I don't really want to date a woman if she doesn't want to travel. Like, hey, I can afford to have a woman come with me and not affect my pockets like that. But if she doesn't have the time, because that's typically a lot of times what it is, hey, you know, I'm working and maybe I want to take off for a month. That time apart, you know, folks, a lot of times to start running around like, oh man, well, you know, what's he doing? Who's he with? And all that good stuff. Or they see photos of me, or, you know, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you know, well, who is that person? You know, the insecurity start creeping up. I don't like that, like, at all. So a long-term relationship can be challenging, but yeah, I'm single right now. I would like a long-term relationship, but it has to be with a woman that also has you know, the same, you know, ability to travel like I do. And yeah, that greatly reduces you know, the candidate pool.
Talk about it, Millennial Mark.
I mean, that was interesting. So, you know, I tell you, you know, coming from a, you know, another single brother, just hearing like your requirements of a woman, you know, that's actually pretty interesting. And, you know, it's always interesting the dynamics that, you know, we as men, you know, have. And I'm hoping I'm staying on topic because I just wanted to respond to what you were saying because it's just an interesting dynamic.
You're doing great.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I was doing that, you know, staying on what we're talking about. So, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic because, you know, just like you say that, you know, you make sure that the woman that you want to involve yourself with will have time for travel because, you know, you have that extended amount of time where you're going to have to be going abroad and, you know, you just want to, you know, avoid the frustration that comes along with long-term dating, you know, because again, like you said, it brings up all of those questions, you know, because one of the things that, would you say that that's something that you have a hard time finding? Because I wanted to kind of connect it with something that, you know, I have similar, just in a different way. But would you say that that's something that's, you know, hard to find in a woman?
In the United States, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And if I'm abroad, no, because like here, Bali or any like other countries that I've been to, you can typically find a pretty large expat community, and they're typically working online just like I am. So they, you know, they have the ability to just pick up and, oh, hey, you know, let's shoot to, you know, we about to take from Uncle Stu, we about to shoot to Darwin, right? Northern Australia. We can shoot to Darwin, be out there, and it's super, super hot. Okay. But yeah, and in the States, most people are so tied to their jobs because, well, again, that's their well-being.
The rat race.
And yeah, exactly that race, and it's running hard and fast. That's not, I'm not trying to be a cog, right, a wheel in that machine. No.
Let me ask you this, because I think a lot of before I settled down, women would say to me, "Oh, I travel," and I'll say, "Okay, where have you traveled?" "Oh, I've taken a cruise." And the battle has always been, that's not traveling. That's, you're on a boat. You get off the boat. That's not Can you explain to people the difference between being on a cruise and actually traveling? Because a lot of people I find more women really mix the two. They don't realize that a cruise is not traveling.
You know what? I have never been on a cruise, and I never would. You know what? Okay, no, I'm lying. I took a cruise one time. Yeah, I don't do cruises like that, but I actually took a cruise from I was in Stockholm, Sweden to Helsinki, Finland. And that's like an 18-hour cruise. But other than that, yeah, I'm not gonna get on some big ship and go, from Miami to hit the Bahamas, St. Croix, and all that. That's not me. I don't want to be I don't want to be stuck on some floating prison. I don't mind a flying prison for 16 hours, and I can go off and just do a whole bunch of other stuff and see like the sights and all that good stuff for as long as I want to be in that that location. But I have no desire to be on a cruise ship like that. Actually, one of my very best friends, one of my childhood friends, he's on a cruise right now. And he's like, and he asked me if I wanted to go with him. I'm like, man, no, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to, Indonesia. We've messaged each other and all that. He's like, yo, man, this is my room. I'm like, well, this is my accommodation up here. I'm paying a whole lot less than what you're paying. But I'm not the cruise ship kind of guy. No.
Yeah, I'm right there with Kareem. Laugh out loud, agree. Cruising is not really traveling, because it's so funny. If I had to choose an island, I want to go to Jamaica, but I don't want to go to the part where everybody's talking about, oh yeah, I've been to Jamaica. No, you've been to the part of Jamaica that America controls. I want to go to the part of Jamaica that the Jamaicans control. I want that backwoods type food cooking. Not that Americanized stuff, but me being from New York, I know what real Jamaican food is. I know the spices and the smell and everything else. I don't want that Americanized Jamaican food. I want the real thing.
You don't want the resort food.
I don't want the resort stuff.
You don't want the resort.
With a pinch of curry over here and say, hey, look, you got curry. You're like, nah, this ain't it.
That ain't no jerk chicken. That's not jerk.
Ain't no real jerk chicken. If I can get Kareem off of one of them islands, then maybe I can get her where I'm at. She can cook it up. But Kareem, she's 25 with a 21-year-old, so I got to watch out.
We got Anthony Southeast. He said he'd been working remote for 14 years. Then Vaughn's in the chat asking, what type of work does he do? And waiting on Anthony Southeast to respond or come on up.
Yeah, one of the two. Because Big Bad Bull is dropping the channel in the chat. So if y'all want to come up. I'd like to hear even from any woman that's listening. I really want to hear your perspective on what Tobias the Traveler had to say. And this whole aspect of either traveling or join the conversation about, that whole black man love thing. I want to hear from different generations about, have you heard, any real in-depth, black men you are loved, or just that self-love. If you can, join in that conversation, I think is a very good conversation. Go ahead, Millennial Mark. What you got to say or add or question in those conversations?
So I just wanted to kind of, go back to what he was saying, my question to him was, is it hard to find that type of woman who can match exactly what he described. And pretty much he said, yes, that's far and few between here in the States, so much that you have to, it's easy to find that elsewhere. And, so I haven't really gotten into that realm of things of, looking outside of, the States. But I'll tell you, something that's, somewhat comparable to, what he said. One of the things that I look for, and one of the things that I've always struggled with when it comes to, dealing with women here is, finding, a woman that understands delayed gratification. I get it that we're so used to this instant, I can get what I want right now, that Uber type of life that I order food in 10 minutes is to the door. But I think maybe it's with our culture. But I want to say that because maybe our women are so used to our men not really achieving anything that took time to achieve, that when they encounter a man who's on a mission and he's on a path that might delay gratification on some of the other things that they may want to go ahead and start doing right away because this is a man that they're feeling. When he's on his mission, I find that most of them they're not going to be patient with that, and it goes back to what he said. As far as the ability to essentially just up and go, move when it's time to move, it's easier to find that outside of the States. And so, that would be my comparable situation to that. It's just being able to find someone who understands that, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day.
I 100%. I feel that. A lot of folks, right? A lot of women are just looking for that instant gratification, and yeah, if you don't spend it as soon as you get it, you're not going to have much, especially if you're trying to spend it all as soon as you get it. Versus, hey, you know what? I just got this. Let me get some more, and some more, and some more. Now, okay, well, what options are available, to me or to us? And we have this cushion, and then actually, while we're doing something, while we're doing what we're doing, I can still get more. Right, I can still make more. So, yeah, finding that can be, that could be a very, very tough one, a really tough one.
Like a needle in a haystack,
I was
mean, just here because we're used to the fast pace. We're so used to the fast paced lifestyle. Because one thing when I've only traveled overseas once, and it was to Costa Rica. But
Okay.
one thing that I instantly picked up on was that everything is not like being here in the States. For what I do, I'm a business owner, and I'm a time freak, and that's a big thing over there. That's not the case. No one's on time. Like nothing's nothing's really in a timely fashion. And it's almost like when you're here and you're creating success, and you're having somebody that's involved in your life, that understanding that it's not going to happen in a timely fashion, but someone who's outside of the rat race per se can understand that certain things don't happen in a timely fashion. But here we're so accustomed to that.
I'm going to say that I am fortunate, but I will have to admit that's definitely a needle in a haystack, and I've been quiet because I'm not single. So, and sometimes it's hard for me to speak to a lot of single conversations because I'm not single. I can reflect back when I was, but then I also didn't have the same mindset that I have right now. My question to y'all, because I'm gonna post something that Kareem said in the chat. My question to y'all is it strictly African American women? Or because I'm going on what you said, Millennial Mark, about this delayed gratification, or is it really our culture just as a whole? And you two men just happen to be in a position where, I know Millennial Mark, I know you got your business, and I know what Tobias the Traveler do. Is it the fact that y'all is ahead of the curve and a whole lot of people isn't really where y'all two is at as a whole, or is it really just women? And I'm just asking that in general.
What do you think, Tobias? You've done a lot of traveling.
Yeah, I think it's the culture. It's not only women. And it's not fair to say it's only the women, because you don't see the majority of Black men out there really doing it like that, out there really having
Yep.
the lifestyle that, you know, a lot of women say that they would like. Because
Mhm.
you just look at the numbers, right? Just straight up, you look at the numbers. The person who actually introduced me to those numbers of, you know, what Black male earnings were, you know, was BGS. You might be familiar with BGS if more. He
Yes.
did a show a couple months back on where he broke down like the census data, and when he really pointed out like where, you know, Black men were sitting like in the 45th percentile. He pointed that out, or not 45th 45th percentile, but when I saw that most Black men were not making more than, like, you know, on average it was like $42,000 $41,000 annually. I'm like,
Right.
whoa, 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 whoa. And then I know some folks may try to, you know, combat that data, or, you know, well, that could be incorrect. But even if you increased it or decreased it by 10%, that's still only like $4,000. That's not a lot of money. So
Can I
it's
add to that
not.
really quick?
Hey, go for it.
Because let me tell you, one thing about me is a lot of these guys that, you know, that you're speaking of, this is real. I mentor these guys. I'm bringing them into
Mhm.
the world of business. So when it comes to the fact that, you know, they say, you know, most Black men are earning somewhere around 40,000, let me tell you something. I've worked with several guys in the industry that I'm in, and I'm bringing them into this industry, trying to get them to six figures. Every single brother that I brought in came from a background of anywhere from 36 to $43,000 a year. Every single one of them in the last 2 months, I've worked with 5 brothers in the last 2 months. Every single one of them was between 35 and 38. That statistic is real life. When I heard it, I did not believe it. When I opened the doors and decided I'm going to start mentoring brothers and bringing them into the world of business, and when I created my channel and started working with people, it's real. It is real. I didn't believe it. I'm so far apart from, you know, that side of things that it doesn't even sound believable. But it is. It's real. I work with these guys on a day-to-day basis. Outside,
I
you know, in addition to running my business.
totally
That's
agree with
heavy,
you.
right?
Yeah. I think what is in this space, that's in so many ways from an intellectual standpoint, that's been one of the biggest frustrations, you know, is breaking into the reality versus just somebody throwing some numbers out and and making people feel good. Because I'm sitting here going, okay, if y'all making six figures, you know, now that everybody want to throw that number out, how is it you're on YouTube from sun up to sundown, back to sun up? How are you making this money? You know, where are you getting all this extra? It's like, this isn't real. I need everybody to come to the space, admit where you are, and let the brothers that is there get you to where you want to be. It's not impossible. But if you don't come from a place of reality, then no one can help you. You know, I'll say to a brother all the time, bruh, if you living with a woman and your name ain't on the lease, don't come on to YouTube. You need to learn how to get out of her house and learn how to be free as a male. Because as long as it's just her name on that lease, guess what? She controls. She rules. She can put you out anytime. And then you can't go run to the red pill community and say, well, she did this. And then it's like, wait a minute, dude, but you wasn't where you're supposed to be. And that's the frustrating part for me. Is like, I'm surrounded by men who can get you to where you want to go. But you got to come to the table and be honest. If you got to be. There are certain things where I'm bold when I say, you're looking for a woman and you ain't got no money. Why are we looking for a woman and you ain't got no money? Why are we doing this and you ain't got this in order? I can't run a platform talking about women this, women that, women this, And then my brothers ain't in the position they need to be so that they can have these women. Again, going back to what you said earlier about loving self. Because when I love myself, that means I still got to eat. I still got to have a roof over my head. I still got to have, transportation. I got to have all these things, whether I got a woman or not, if that makes sense. I love what Kareen said. She says, I've traveled, moved around a lot due to my career. It affected long-term relationships. No man gonna be running behind me because I took a new opportunity in a company, XYZ overseas.
That's real quick, Uncle Stu.
Yes.
Because you know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Go for it.
Unfortunately, because of the past and the lack of fathers, a lot of these young black men out here, they still need a woman as a crutch. Mama has always been the crutch. They never learned from a man how to get out here and stand 10 toes strong and be a man. A lot of these young men, unfortunately, in my age group, under 30, still need mama as a crutch. And when they ain't in mama's house no more, they go out here and find a woman to be mama. That's, unfortunately, I see that a lot. I saw that a lot when I was in law enforcement. I don't see, I really don't see it anymore, but that, being in that profession showed me that I've seen a lot of that. And, it's an unfortunate reality that's, it's still the case today. You have these, I call them house husbands. They sitting at home, smoking weed, playing Madden while the girl out working. They take her to work, come back home, and he's another son, and that's all he knows how to be. He don't know how to be a man. He knows how to be a son.
Son, husbands. He fluffed the pillows. He didn't fluff the pillows on the couch for her. Yeah,
exactly. But he'll never marry her because he don't know what a marriage looks like. But he knows how to be a son, and he's going to be her son husband.
You know what? I'm gonna get intentional to record his voice. I'm gonna just push the button when he said, "That's a mic drop." That's a mic drop. That's a powerful mic drop. Sir Harold Speaks said, I was earning $42K all because I didn't know how to negotiate and I didn't understand the value of my skills. That's another mic drop. Sometimes it's not the job, it's the lack of knowledge of the market value. 100. That so much we need to learn. So much. That's a powerful statement.
I agree. And like right now, actually, I'm okay for what I do. I work in tech, and I'm creating a course, right, that's teaching individuals who have no tech experience how to get into the field that I work in, right, called product management. And being that I taught myself. Say again?
Keep talking.
So I taught myself, and typically when I meet other product managers, there's many ways, or folks say there's many roads into product management, but a lot of product managers come from, universities like, Carnegie Mellon, or they went to, Haas School of Business, Harvard, Stanford, or, they interned at Yahoo or one of the top 4, tech companies. I didn't do that, but yet I've still been able to do this job and do it very successfully. And being that I taught myself, those you have those hurdles, those bumps in the road, you have those learnings, even got fired from a couple jobs. I've learned a lot. So I am putting together a course that will teach others the basic, not even like just 101, but the core fundamentals, the really, really nitty gritty need to know information that you actually can't get from, a university. And my course will also be, again, like for those that are outside of tech. You didn't work as a software engineer. You didn't work as a UX designer. You have no concept, or at least, you'll like the term product management or senior product manager or product owner or something like that, but you don't know what the work really entails. I'm creating, again, I'm building something that will give people that knowledge. So yeah, I'd really like to see more people get into it, to diversify, because I don't see, you know what, I've only met one other black person, black man or woman that does the type of work I do. One
Wow.
that look like me.
Wow. And you know what's crazy? Because I got the exact same thing. I've only met, just my specialized niche, the one thing that I do in my industry that's, it makes a lot of money. I've only met one brother who does it as well. I've had him on my channel for the last, I think 3 live streams. This brother's 68 years old. He's the only other brother I've met who's in this specialized niche that if many more of us just knew about, we know about everything around it, but this one thing, so it's interesting. Just like what you said, with engineering, I specialize, what I do, I specialize in, tile and natural stone. People who specialize in that, as far as like the maintenance of that, they don't look like us. They don't look like us. But there's so much money to be made in it, And like I said, the last 5 brothers I brought on, to go back to what Uncle Stu said, all the information being right here on YouTube, on this channel, on many other channels, it's right here. They just need to come to it. The last 5 brothers that I've brought on, they all came from YouTube, every single one. So, I mean, it's improvement, because I'll tell you, I said this on El Guapo's channel, when I was on his stream, and no, this was something that I talked about with him. Yeah, it was on his stream, but I've been doing what I've been doing 9 years now. In the last 6 years, I've been bringing other people in, and this is the first time that it's been brothers. It's never been anyone. It's never been any of us until I got on YouTube and started, really talking and putting my stuff out there. But, it's amazing how much stuff, we don't know about. And just like you, the industry that you're in, most of the people that's involved in it don't look like us, so you're doing your part. You're bringing us, into an industry that, we just, we're shut out of, not shut out of the sense of like, we can't get in. We just don't know, because a lot of these things, it's all about who, as far as how to get in there.
Let me ask both of you a question. Go ahead, Dwight.
Oh, I was just gonna say, there's this saying within product management, right? It's kind of like the Soho house. You can see it, but you don't know how to get in, because it is extremely difficult a lot of times to break in, even getting like your first job, unless you become recommended by someone. And yeah, I've learned the ins and outs. So why not share that knowledge? Right? Why not share the information? I've learned what the wheel looks like, and now, since I do know what that wheel looks like, okay, well, let's go ahead, really put it in a package that is digestible, because I've had all this knowledge here, but transferring it to digestible content is what I've been doing. So I have been touching it since I got here to Bali. I'll start back when I get back when I return home. But yeah, I'm definitely looking to ship that by like July 1st. So it's got a lot of videos to shoot and all that stuff. So
does anybody have any questions that's coming from the chat? And Sahel Speaks said, excellent. So many people who enter into the text simply don't know where to begin. Good stuff. I will look forward to checking out the course. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to any questions? Or if you want to come up, I can have one of my moderators definitely drop the link. Tobias and Millennial Mark, both of your YouTube channels is in the chat. So hopefully people will, reach out to the two of you. My question would be, and I'll just make it an open discussion, breaking into the Black male sphere. There's a reality that I've had to come to in this space. And the reality is, brothers, we still got work to do. We still got work. I get it. Yelling at women all day. Okay, that's great. That's nice. but we got work to do. So I'm gonna start with you, Millennial Mark, because you dropped the mic drop. You said men is still being son husbands, which your terminology and your definition is different than what I've heard on these YouTube streets. So I'm gonna give you the definition I've heard on the YouTube streets. The son husband is the woman, is the mother that turns the son into her husband. But that wasn't your definition. Your definition is the girlfriend that takes on the boy that's not fully developed into a man, and he is the son husband. That's why I said that's the mic drop. That is something totally different than I've ever heard. And I
It is, and you have to think about it. Like, look at, because again, it all comes from my background in law enforcement. When you see like some of the domestic incidents that happens, when you really like dig deep into it and you like talk to the woman, and she'll tell you exactly what was going on that caused that. It sounds like a teenage boy going against the mother. It literally sounds like she took my PS5 controller. That's why I hit her. What? You're a grown man and you beat up on your woman because she playing games with the video game. How old are you? How old are you? It's stuff like that. I've seen it. That's why I say,
you're about to make me call Nathan Daly like, hey, bro, get on this stream.
he should, because you know what? He's seen it. I'm telling you, the son husband is the husband to the girlfriend who he will never marry, who he cannot control his emotions with, because she understands that he's the weaker vessel. So she handles him as such. And when she requires more of him than what a teenager is able to handle, he acts out. And because he's a grown man, he acts out way more violently with more strength than he could have as a teenager. And he knows to do it almost with immunity because he has a grip on her at the same time, because there's a certain woman that's attracted to that kind of man. That's why also you see they end up going back to him, because he knows that. So he knows some of his power, but he's still a boy in the mind, because the only thing he knows how to be is a son. The reason why he goes and gets a job is because his girl requires him to, not because it's in him to do so, because mama always bought them Jordans. Mama always bought them clothes. Mama always, did XYZ. Well, whatever woman you end up with might not be in the position to be mama. So you're going to have to, be a man somewhat, but you don't fully know how to be a man. So he only knows how to be a son. At best, he's 16 years old. Most of these guys at best, 16 years old.
I'm going to put up Kareem because
I'm feeling what I've seen, and I'm under 30. It's my generation. I know how they are. I know. I know my generation.
Yeah, Kareem said, "I'll be beat if a man gonna drop me off to work and she put big words, my car, then go to my house and smoke weed, eat up my food, then pick me back up from work in my car." But
it happens every day.
But help me, because I know you're speaking truth. And I got Snuggles in the house. I'm gonna read what Snuggles got to say in a minute. How do I talk to the women that's doing this? Because if this is happening, and I'm not disagreeing with you, if this is happening, then how do I teach my women to prevent that type of man? Because some of these women will turn around and meet a Millennial Mark, meet Tobias the Traveler, and say, I want that man. I'm having fantasies to be with that man, which now going to cause even more problems with the son husband she got in the house, because you're revealing what a man looks like, what he talks like, how he thinks. What in the world?
You know what, Stu?
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you the answer to that question is gonna sting, and I don't want to run away your viewers right now. But the answer to that question is really gonna sting when you said, "What can what can you tell the sisters on how to avoid that guy?" Right? Because I got the answer to that. Because I know, again, this is my group. I know the thought process. Can I tell you what it is? It's gonna sting just a little bit.
Go ahead, drop the mic.
That brother right there is the brother whose standards are in the dirt. He don't care about your 3 kids with 3 baby daddies. He don't care about any of the other things that men of substance care about. And outside of the fact that he don't care about those things, he has a little bit of suave about him. Just a little bit, just enough to not have her look at him as a dusty. It's about who they're, it's, unfortunately, because of what the other men and them, they and the other guy have created together that they're no longer with. The product of that, there's a group of guys out here who looks past all of that to be, I'm pretty sure you've heard the term homosexual.
Yes. Got you.
I mean, they look for a certain type of woman, and usually that woman has been through a couple men. She's still looking, and that's him. That's him. He's a low achiever. He's a low achiever who has a real good talk game, and he will overlook the things that she wishes the guys who she really wants will overlook. He will overlook those, and that's just the bottom line. It goes back to past decisions and mishaps.
That's deep. Thank you, Maggie, the substitute teacher, stopping by to say hello and support Uncle Stu. Thank you. I agree. Kareem said, if she going to deal with a son husband, she ain't ready for a Tobias or millennial. Yeah, yeah. But I wanted to throw the hook out there.
You know what? I've connected with a bunch of women, go on dates and all that stuff, and we'll talk, go hang out a couple times, and I have learned that when women meet me, they aren't ready. They know that they can't offer me what I'm looking for, so they will run. They're like, oh, they go back to whatever it is, that whoever they had before, or whatever that archetype is. They run back to that, and I've had it happen to me a number of times. I'm like, okay, well, this is going great, but for whatever reason, she hasn't done the work in herself to say, you know what, hey, what maybe they made a mistake or two, but I think I can do better, and I want better, and I'm not going to make these same mistakes anymore. When they meet me, like, oh wow, this is everything that I was looking for, or he's everything that I was looking for, they revert back, and then they about face quick, fast, and in a hurry for whatever their reason is, or whatever the feelings that they have are, and they run. I've seen it many times. I even had, like, recently I had a woman, like, just we're supposed to hang out, no call, no show. Right. I'm like, oh, because if this was your job, you wouldn't pull a no call, no show. I don't tolerate that. And she reached back out to me, like, a couple of, like 2 weeks after. And I told her, I'm like, okay, well, hey, I appreciate you reaching back out and all, but we don't need to talk. I don't need to see you. I'm good. Well, and I told her, I'm like, hey, what you did is unacceptable. If I did it to you, you wouldn't answer your phone. You'd be like, oh no, why are you trying to reach out to me? The same. The respect I have for myself will not allow that type of disrespect. That's what and this is what you've done. You've disrespected me. No call, no show. You wouldn't do that at your job. Your job will fire you quick, fast, and in a hurry. Unless it's even a text message, it's inexcusable. So yeah, they turn around, did their about face. Okay, I'm not worried about it, but I've seen it many many times now. I'm like, all right, well, what can I do about it? Keep enjoying my life. That's what. Yeah.
Do y'all think
It's the opposite. I've never experienced that before. That's actually really interesting to hear.
Yeah. You know what though?
Because if I can jump in and kind of throw my example of that.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead. What were we going to say?
No, my question was going to be, it goes back to something you said much earlier. It's about, do you now think that we have to just teach people to love themselves, because it's no longer just a male thing, but a male and female thing? In other words, we have to teach people to love themselves, because I'm going to definitely be getting a therapist on here, because I'm so tired of everybody saying, well, we got all these traumas, but then it's like, okay, when you got a therapist, y'all don't go to the therapist. So I'm confused as to, do you really have trauma, or you just saying it as a justification not to work on yourself?
It's a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had my therapy, right? I've had my breakthroughs, and I typically don't I'm not ashamed to even share that. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I've had my therapy, right? I've had my sessions, and those tears come out. And a lot of people are like, wow, you've done this. And when you tell them, they like, oh, that's brave of you, but they don't want to address their own issues. They don't want to look in the mirror and see all the pain that they have inside and say, you know what? Yeah, you're 9 times out of 10, you're not responsible for it, because it actually stemmed from, your or our childhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out of there, address it, get it on the table. You will feel so much better once you've actually been able to tackle it. Well, first, understand what it is, why it's there, the how it has affected you in the past, how it affects you currently, and what it could do in the future, to your life if you don't address it. But most don't want to do that, because it is painful. It is scary. And again, like in our community, it is shunned. Oh, you shouldn't go see a professional. It's not saying that, oh, you're crazy and you're going to get, you'll be put in a straitjacket or nothing. No, we do have the trauma. Everyone does. But addressing it properly, because most folks can't self-assess. You're going to be the same thing with a coach, right? Or a mentor. You think your game is great, but like I say, even Michael Jordan, his game was great, but then he met Phil Jackson and took him to another level. Someone outside of what you actually have naturally can still help build you, or at least point out the areas that you would that you should know about. Great one for me. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the strength finders, and from Gallup. Wow, this assessment, it told me a lot about myself that I knew, but I could never just call out distinctly. But it also gave me, blind spots that I've had. And I spoke to, a coach about it also, that actually came recommended by Kevin Samuels, by the name of Jeff Liscombe. Yeah, really, really helps, right? Really, really helped to see where I'm at currently, who I am, why I am the way I am, and now how I can actually take my traits, my top 5, traits, characteristics, and improve my life that much more. So but seeing a therapist or even seeing a coach, folks should do that, or both. If you don't have the money, you can get the money. You can definitely get the money. Just what are you prioritizing?
Exactly. And to my mods, what I'm going to do is definitely close the back, because I really enjoyed Tobias the Traveler and Millennial Mark TV. They're giving knowledge, they're giving understanding. Their channels has been dropped in the chat several times. Check them out on each one of their individual channels. They support me, they rock with me. So, let's rock with them and get what you can. Millennial Mark, what would be your last and final thoughts?
I mean, back to what Tobias said is just far as being open to seeking the help that you may or that you may need.
Right.
I've gotten therapy as well. I had to get mine after after my divorce. I felt like it that was an experience. So I got therapy for it, and it was enlightening. Just to be able to get a lot of stuff out there, and we as a people, because there's such a stigma behind it, we got to get past that. We got to stop looking at things and saying, oh, if I do that, then I'm not crazy. It's not saying that you're crazy. It's saying that we as a people have had to endure so much that we're so accustomed to holding stuff in that we've seen examples of what happens when we finally pop. And every time you go talk to a therapist, maybe it's like you holding a balloon. And every time you talk to them, you let a little bit of air out. Every single time you don't pop, you let a little bit of air out, and that balloon just shrinks. So
Right.
I feel like, and that was an analogy that was given to me when I was in therapy about the balloon, and every time you just have that conversation, air, 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 air. So that wasn't for me. That was something that I picked up, when I got therapy, because again, we as a people, we're so accustomed to holding stuff in. And one thing about us, we know how to, we're very resilient. When you look at the numbers of certain statistics out there, involving self-deletion, it's not really us doing that because we're resilient people, and as resilient as we are, we need to understand that what's going to keep us powerful is not letting all of that pressure build up. You got to have some type of release. And again, I mean, it's something that we all should, have a part in our life. Even
Right.
just you ain't got to do it for years, but just talk to somebody and just let it out, because everybody's under pressure. Everybody's under pressure right now. Nobody's perfect. Nothing is just glitter and sunshine. Everybody's under some form of pressure, especially we as a people. And so we really got to get rid of that stigma, because again, we've seen way too many examples of explosions.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anybody? I was going to say really quickly, if folks want to reach out, hear a bit more of my story, whatever, go ahead, shoot me an email at Tobias at tobiasthetraveler.com. So
Y'all got that? Is one of the
Tobias
moms.
at tobiasthetraveler.com.
Yeah. Hold on, I got it back here.
Yeah, I put it in a private chat.
Yeah. All right, that's his email. Well, I want to thank you two gentlemen for an awesome live stream. Great knowledge, great content. Y'all definitely brought a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information. Millennial Mark, you dropped the heavy one. I'm going to be up here doing a whole bunch of writing and researching, clipping this and be like, all right, now we got a new definition, because I really think that is something that needs to be discussed. And yeah,
I feel like that's the correct definition.
yeah,
I'm telling you, I'll say for my generation, I've seen it. I see way too many examples of it.
yeah. I've seen grown men my age still out there. So it's definitely not just a generation; it's several of them. So I totally understand. Tobias, what would be your last words?
Last words. Well, thank you for the invitation. It's also great to have a discussion with Will before the billions, and also connecting with you, Mark. I was listening to actually we were on Uncle Stu's State of the Emergency together for a little bit, but I had to get out of here. Didn't get a chance to actually have the conversation with you. But yeah, really great to connect with you. I'll definitely be following up on your channel, reaching out. If, maybe we can do a collab or something. We'll see how things go. But everyone, get a passport, right? If you are able, right? There are some rules around it, but if you get the chance, get a passport, see the world. Come see the world. If you need some help, want some pointers on where you think you should go first, how much it's going to cost you, accommodations and all that good stuff. I know a ton about it. reach out, say hello, and we can talk. So yeah, that's it. I didn't have anything else.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank each and every single one of you that came here today. You definitely could have been anywhere on these YouTube streets, but you came right here to the Emancipated Studio. Remember, emancipate your mind and your body will follow. So let's get our minds free. Let's get real. Let's start learning how to love ourselves, take care of ourselves. If you don't know how to love yourself, then let me help you. But you got to do the first step. And the first step is leave it in the comments. Say, Uncle Stu, I don't love myself and I need help. You got to admit where you are. Don't act like you there and you're not really there. You can get there. I've been there. I've had to learn how to love myself. And trust me, I love myself. So let me help you to get to where you need to be. Again, leave a message in the comments. And if you're ashamed to write it in the comments, hit the about section, send me an email, go to my IG. There's many ways to reach out to me, but let's be honest, let's be real, and let's go to that next level together. So this is it. I want to thank you. Peace. Y'all hang out with me in the back.
Cool.